So this week I've been suffering with gas. Yes, I could blame the red wine or possibly even the partially undercooked lamb chop. But no, it's neither of those things, but it is my own doing. So just say before I continue a little bit more, I get this right this week. If you want to subscribe, there's a little button down there that you could click and that will enable you to subscribe. And we've got some good content. You'll be the judge of that. We have more content coming up when we go to France. I might have mentioned before France in a short while. There'll be quite a lot of content there. Hopefully it'll be good. Now we went last year, a playlist up there, but I was just started vlogging, so I wasn't particularly confident in front of the camera. So there's a lot of stuff without me talking, which you might enjoy more. Anyway, have a look at that. Why not? And subscribe. You're welcome. On with the gas rant. So what's my main problem with gas in the caravan? Well, mainly how it's implemented. I think when we first got a caravan initially, we got a Calor gas bottle, which I think most beginners probably do, as it's the more freely available of the gases possibly, and mainly a dealer will probably tell you to get a 6 kilogram bottle of Calor gas or something. So initially that's exactly what we did, which was okay if you haven't experienced anything else. Now I have a couple of problems with Calor gas, or in fact more than a couple. I have a lot of problems with Calor gas. Firstly, the weight of the bottles are ridiculously heavy. I now at the moment I have a 6 kilogram bottle of gas, Calor gas, and it weighs I think 17 kilos. It's ridiculous, and they're hard to get into position. That's one. Secondly, is the way it attaches to the bulkhead, which is the bit where the gas comes into the caravan. It's got this weird pigtail arrangement where you need to screw it into the bottle itself, which is kind of okay. Well, firstly, you need a spanner, which is a nightmare. You need a slightly bigger spanner than a normal spanner. You probably need a gas spanner. Now, be careful when you're doing it, because it doesn't do up the normal way. In fact, it does up the way it tightens the way you would loosen a normal nut. Why? It's just really frustrating. 9 times out of 10, if I'm taking the bottle off, which isn't that often, but I'll go to the bulkhead, I'll get my spanner, I'll turn and turn and turn, and I will 100%, in fact 100% of the time, I will bash my hand on the side where I'm trying to loosen it, but I'm tightening it. But that's my hand. Yesterday I did exactly this thing. So I might have mentioned a couple of times on social media, maybe once or twice, that in a little while we're off to France. We went to France last year as well, and we're going back this year. So last year we went for 3 weeks, and I took one 6 kilogram bottle of Calor gas. We bought it maybe a couple of months before, and I don't think we'd used it that often, but when we were down there we'd run out after 2 weeks, completely empty. So I challenge anybody in France to try and get a replacement Calor gas. You can't, they don't sell it out there. You can't get, they're not even too sure what you mean when you're asking for gas. Well, in fact, the place I stayed, they did know what I was talking about, and they were very helpful and said that their shop did sell gas. Hurrah! Gas bottles were about that big. They were barbecue gas bottles, so not really of any use. So for the last week we did without gas. Now, gas for us is important because we always use the Cadac. We don't ever cook inside the caravan when we're abroad. 30 degrees, I don't want to be stuck in a caravan. Out there, lovely and warm, cooking breakfast, lunch and dinner. We rarely eat out, so we're using gas non-stop. So now I don't know if that gas I don't know how full that gas cylinder was, because with Calor you got to go by weight. You can't really tell how full it is. I've bought a gauge which I stuck between the bulkhead and the bottle, but I'm not entirely sure how to read it. When I bought the new bottle, I bought the gauge with it, I fitted the gauge, and I expected it to read full. It didn't read full. It was kind of like, well, I say half. It wasn't quite half, but it was somewhere between 3/4. How else am I going to work out how much gas is left? Well, if you do a bit of research, you can weigh the bottles. So empty, they're say seven. In fact, if I look at my notes here, I got it from Calor's website. 6 kilogram gas bottle empty is between 7.3 and 10.9 kilograms. What? Why? What is it? Surely it's empty. Anyway, don't worry about that. When it's full, it's 17 kilograms. So I could weigh the bottle, and if it's 17 kilograms, I know it's full. which is all right, but you've got to take the bottle out, which, as I explained earlier, you need to get your screwdriver, your spanner out, undo it. It's all a faff that I don't really want to have to deal with. So I need an alternative. Now, there are a few alternatives, which I'll discuss a bit later. But for now, I'm stuck with Calor. So in my despair yesterday, I did Google how heavy is gas. I think it seemed a reasonable thing if I could. Actually, I'm not sure what I was trying to achieve. But, so, here goes. This is what I've read. When determining the weight of the contents, it is important to know the density of propane is only about half that of water. Right, it continues. Unlike water, 1 kilogram of propane does not equal 1 litre of propane. That doesn't help. So yeah, so I'm looking to change the gas I use. Now, previously, I've used something different, and there is a good reason why I didn't. It's not a good reason, actually. I thought it was a good reason. A good reason why I didn't use the gas I normally use, which is Gaslight. Was supplied by BP. I think it's now Flow Gas. I'll get onto that in a minute as well. First of all, though, I want to go back to Calor. Now, at some point, Calor came into the caravan and motorhome market, and they must have had some kind of meeting about it to try and decide how best to supply gas for this up-and-coming leisure activity called caravanning. So, and my guess is there was a board meeting, and it probably went something like this. I had a lot of interest from caravan and motorhome manufacturers for us to supply gas to them in some kind of container. Anyone got any ideas how we could best do this? I mean, I'm guessing it should be fairly lightweight. Well, boss, I mean, we could do that. I mean, we definitely could make it quite lightweight. However what? Surely they need it light, don't they? They're always concerned about the weight of their caravans and motorhomes and the payload and everything else. Well, that's true as well, boss. However, these caravanners and motorhomes, they do like a challenge. I mean, they don't use their vehicles, they don't use motorhomes and caravans because they're easy, do they? Well, I'm not really sure. What are you suggesting? Well, firstly, sir, we should make them heavy to use so that they can lift them in a struggle. Are you sure that's a good idea? Of course it is. Caravanners and motorhomers, they love exercise. We know they do. They like to wind up their stays. They like to push their caravans onto site. There's lots of things they love doing. Emptying toilet, moving the water butts around. I mean, if you didn't like exercise, why would you do all that? Well, okay, I guess that could be true, but at least we could make it easy to fit. Like, you know, the plumbing push fit things, we could have them so we can lift in a bottle and connect it to the caravan and just push it in and secure it like that. Well, with all due respect, sir, like I say, they do like a challenge, so I think if you make it too easy for them, they just won't use it. So I'm proposing we reverse the thread. So, you know, usually you do righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Let's have it the other way around. What, so you mean completely the opposite to what everybody else does? Like in the home, you completely the opposite? Exactly, sir. You just imagine the joy of a caravan or a motorhomer when they ask somebody to connect up their gas bottle and they're spending forever trying to thread it the wrong way, and they're getting in a faff, and then the caravaner or motorhomer can come along and go, whoa, what are you doing? Why are you doing it that way? So much, and then they can do it the correct way, and then they'd look great. So anyway, so there's the true story of why Calor make things so difficult for caravanners and motorhomers. They want us to lift heavy items and get annoyed at screwing things in the wrong way with a special gas spanner. Maybe it was true. Maybe I made it up. Right, so as I mentioned earlier, when we first started caravanning, we used Calor gas. We had a 6 kilogram Calor gas bottle. After a while, I moved over to what was BP Gaslight. So these are bottles. We use 10 kilogram bottles now, so they're big bottles, but they're very, very light. And not only that, they've got like a panel on the bottle, and I'll put a picture maybe there. A panel on the bottle where you can see how much gas you've got in there, so you can wiggle the bottle like that, and the gas level it looks like water in the bottle, so it's easy to tell whether you're empty or full. So why am I not using them now? Well, the reason I'm not using them now, I've got two 10 kilogram empty bottles sitting in my garden. The reason I'm not using them is because when we picked up the unicorn that I'm sitting in now, the salesman said you won't fit 10 kilogram bottles in. You have to use 6 kilogram bottles, and pretty much it was Calor that did the 6 kilogram bottle, so that's what we got. Now, where are we now? A year and a couple of months later, I'm fed up. I'm just fed up with Calor. So yesterday I got the 2 10 kilogram bottles, and I don't know why I haven't tried this before. Why would I take the advice of a salesman? Honestly, I should know better. Anyway, so I got the bottles out of the garden, and guess what? They do fit. I got a picture. I'll put a picture here. So the 10 kilogram bottles do fit. Now all I've got to do is replace the pipe that goes to the bulkhead with I think it's 27 millimeter regulator, and these things, they just pop on the top of the bottle and twist. There's no tools involved, and you just push button and release it. It's happy days. It's lucky. And I'll have 2 10 kilogram bottles of gas. Why didn't I do this a year ago? I'm a fool. That's why I didn't do it. So there are other alternatives. I know Safefill is spoken about quite a lot on Twitter. I've got a couple of problems with Safefill. In theory, it's a good idea, and I know people that use them swear by them. The problem I have is, one, they all seem to be out of stock. All I ever hear from Safefill is, oh, we're getting new shipment in from. Why they can't manage their stock better, I don't know. But that's actually not my main problem. What my main problem is filling them up. So where can you fill them up? So any petrol station that sells LPG, in theory. However, as a rule, garages don't allow you to fill up portable containers like bottles. If you've got it all connected into your motorhome or something, you can, obviously, or a car, you could fill it up, push it in like that. Now, I think they have some kind of agreement with Morrison's, which is pretty much no good for me because there's not a Morrison within 7,000 miles of where I live. Certainly not one that has a garage. And also, I've heard that, there's not everybody at Morrison's knows that you're allowed to fill these things up. So I could be there one day with my bottle, get it out of Caravan, start filling it up, and I'm surrounded by armed guards. Actually, that's probably an exaggeration. But, I've got some little spotty teenager going over to pump 7. You can't put the nozzle down. It's not, to me, it's not formalised enough. I think the bottles are reasonably expensive. I can't remember how much they are. I'll put a picture and a price over there. But on Twitter the other day, someone had done a calculation that would take them about 5 years to recoup the cost of the bottle. Thanks very much for watching while I rant. If you don't subscribe, then please do. There'll be throughout the video, there's like a little thing down there that you can press.